United stand. This is the Jose Mourinho press conference reaction for Liverpool versus Manchester United, the big one. And I tell you what, as you would expect, lots of interesting comments from Jose Mourinho. But the headline for me, and I wonder whether many people will pick up on it, he was pointed out that Liverpool under Jurgen Klopp are definitely playing under the vision of what a Jurgen Klopp team would be. Are Jose Mourinho's Manchester United in the vision of Mourinho? No. How far away from that are they? Very far. Now, obviously, we get used to Jose Mourinho coming out and saying this sort of thing in the sense that, woe is me. And he's thrown out a lot of excuses, which we'll go into in a minute. But when a manager comes out 2.5 seasons into their managerial career and says that the team is far away from where his team should be, a Mourinho team that he envisages should be, you have to sit back there and say, why is he still in a job? I know he's saying it because it's an excuse. I'm far away from where this team needs to be. But is Sarri far away from his Chelsea vision after 3 months? Is Emery far away? No, after 3 months. Is Frank Lampard at Derby far away? He wasn't far away after the 6 weeks. We're 2.5 seasons in, and Mourinho is sat there ahead of our biggest game of the season saying, I'm far away from the team I need to be. Why are you far away? Why are you far away? I mean, he won't answer that, but why are you far away? £400 million spent, Manchester United, lots of good youth, a vision of what the club should be, historically there over the last 50, 60 years. Why are you so far away? Why are you here? I find it funny that he's allowed to throw out publicly a comment, we're far away from where we need to be. And we're all meant to just swallow it and go, yeah, he's right. Let's have another 2 years of this rubbish. Let's just sit back and lower expectations even more. We're a mid-table team going to our biggest rival and most of our fan base accepts we need a bloody miracle. It's just not acceptable. Why is it acceptable that he's sat there saying we're very far away from the team we need to be? Well, that's not. It's 2.5 years in, not 2.5 months. I think it's appalling. I think it's absolutely appalling that he said that. And I personally, if I was Ed Woodward or the Glazers, I'd be pulling him into the office and saying, "Why are you far away? Then can you detail to me why you're far away from where you need to be after 2.5 years? Because we're far away from where we need to be. Look at where we are in the league. We're out of the title race. We're out of the race for top 4. We're soon going to be out of the Champions League." You know, why are you far away? What is your excuse? Because at 2.5 years in, I think we need to know why you're far away. You bought a lot of these players that are now failing. You play the tactics that are failing. He was also asked about, in the summer, he said that Liverpool have spent so much money, they need to be winning the title. Is money what it takes for him to be challenging the title? And he used an analogy which was crap. You know, if you need some analogies, give me a ring, Jose. He said that, building a team is like building a house. You can go out and buy the best furniture and money, but you've got to clean the house, you've got to look after the house, so it's more than money. But for the last 4 months, he's been hinting that money is the reason why we're not in the top 4. And I think, I and many of you lot have sort of fought against that because it's not about money. I think you could buy Koulibaly in January, and I hope we do, but he won't solve the problems in that team because there are far too many. It's not about money. And now Mourinho accepts it's not about money. So what is it about? It's about the bloody tactics. It's about the management of the club. You know, it is about what is going wrong at Manchester United, and money isn't going to solve this problem because actually we broke the record for Pogba. We spent 80 million, 90 million, 75 million on Lukaku. We wasted 40 million on Matic, who's declining fast. You know, we paid the best wages you can get to Alexis Sanchez. We've spent a lot of money, a lot more money than a lot of people have, and we're still, sinking without a trace. It just irritated me, it really did. But James Baker says, stop moaning, Mark. He won a trophy and Klopp hasn't. Well, I don't know whether that... James, I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt and say hopefully being sarcastic there because he was asked about trophies. And he said, no trophy for Liverpool. Does that matter? And Mourinho said, well, yes, it does. When the objective is to win a trophy, then that's what you've got to do. Potential, there's nowhere to hide. If your potential is you've got to win a trophy, you've got to win a trophy. So he said it does matter. Liverpool fans, I think, look, what Liverpool are doing something in the last 6 years that we've never done. We've never been in a title race at Christmas. We haven't. Last year, we sort of tried to get back into the title race. We've started 2 seasons well under Mourinho, not this one obviously, But by November, the title race has been gone. So Liverpool are doing something we haven't done in the last 6 years. It's Christmas time and they're in a title race. So would I swap the Europa League and the Carabao Cup and the Community Shield to be in a title race like Liverpool and a Champions League final? Yeah, I would. I thought the Europa League was nice to win because we'd never won the UEFA Cup before. The Carabao Cup, you can stick that in the garage. I'm not bothered. So actually, I think what Liverpool have achieved in the last 6 months, I would swap everything we've done in the last 6 years for that. I would love to be in a title race at Christmas. It used to be second nature. And a Champions League final, I'd swap for anything. So, Mourinho can say trophies are important, but it depends what the trophies are. And I personally think a title race is far more important than a Carabao Cup. That's my personal opinion. So, maybe Mourinho's trying to put a little bit of pressure onto Klopp, but I don't think Liverpool will feel the pressure. I think the only pressure Liverpool are going to feel is they really should win on Sunday. And if they don't, it's a missed opportunity. Talking about the team, he re-emphasised that Matic and De Gea were the only two players who didn't go to Spain, who he didn't want them to go, wanted them to rest. Martial, Dalot, Chris Smalling, Luke Shaw, all injured, all didn't train yesterday. They're all going to go through some tests today. He said, for sure, some of them won't be ready. Hopefully, some of them will be ready. So we'll see what happens with that. But I think he's certainly getting the excuses in, which I predicted last night. We can only approach this game one way, and that is to park the bus. And he was asked a question by, what's his name? Lives up Mourinho's arse, Manchester Evening News, Lockhurst, isn't it? He asked him a question and said, "Oh, Jose, last year Pep went to Liverpool and drew 0-0 and got praise for it. When you go there, you don't get praise. Do you get the praise you deserve?" I just thought, what a nonsensical question that is. I know he wants to be in Mourinho's good books, fair play to him, but Pep went and got a draw at Liverpool 0-0. I think it was this season, wasn't it? Yeah, but they missed a penalty and they gave as much as they got. And also, a reputation isn't based on going to Liverpool and getting a 0-0 draw. That's an isolated result. It's what you do around it. And what does City do around that Anfield draw? They go and batter teams. They go and play good football. We go and get a draw at Anfield, and that's pretty much what we play like week in, week out. That's why Mourinho doesn't get praised like Pep does, because Pep actually plays decent football. And yeah, all right, they probably went to Liverpool and didn't want to get beat, but they do play good football around that. And they missed the penalty. They should have still won that game. Part of the bus when he spent 400 million. I'm disgusted, says Luke Skywalker. So yeah, he did mention that they're going to go there to fight and win with what they can, but there's doubts on everything because of the injuries and the tactics and everything like that. And I felt that he was very playing it down, and I don't think there is a massive issue with that because because of Mourinho, because of what he's done at the club, we are massive underdogs in this game. I can't remember us being underdogs this much, probably since the early days of the 80s and things like that. I can't remember us being such underdogs going to Anfield. So we were underdogs anyway, but he's talking about these injuries. He's talking about, because of the injuries, we can't work on tactics. And look, Mourinho's not getting sacked if we lose on Sunday, is he? Everyone will be in uproar, everyone will be annoyed, and then the club will ride it out for 2 days, and then they'll think, we've got Cardiff, Huddersfield and Bournemouth, he's going to win those, and everyone will forget about it. Because that's what's happening at United at the moment. There's bad result after bad result after bad result, significant bad results. But they sort of sweep it under the carpet quick and go, oh, look, but we've got Cardiff away, we've got Huddersfield at home. We'll win those games. Forget the fact that the season's over and we're double points off top four, but, we're playing Cardiff, we can win, yay! And that's what's going to happen. We will probably lose to Liverpool, but it'll all be swept under the carpet. But I don't agree with the excuse that, we've got injuries and it's hard for our tactics. Liverpool have lost 2 centre-backs in the last couple of weeks, Joe Gomez and Matip. They've got to play Lovren at the weekend. Everybody's got injury concerns. We're not unique having injuries. As I've said before, Man City haven't had De Bruyne for most of the season. Mendy's another one as well. Key players. Who've we got out missing, really, over the first few months of the season? We haven't really had any major injuries. So now, all right, Sanchez, Lindelof and a couple of others, but you'd expect that at Christmas time. Injuries are there to happen. I don't buy excuses is what I'm trying to say in short. This is Manchester United against Liverpool. I don't care if you put the youth team out. There's a certain sort of anticipation and level that you should have in a game like this. And I don't buy the excuses. We can't afford, even if there was a genuine excuse for us to be like, oh, we've got loads of injuries. I'm sorry, we've made too many mistakes over this season. The excuses don't wash. We've got to win this game. I mean, some people still think we can get top four. Well done. I don't, but we certainly, if there is any slim chance of that, you can't even draw at the weekend because of the fixtures everybody above us have got. We've got to win this game. And not only that, we've got to not let Liverpool win. They're our biggest rival. They're top of the league. It's in our hands to stop them winning the title. It's in our hands for them not to be top of the league on Sunday night. We've got to go there and stop them winning. I don't want this defeatist attitude. This game is absolutely massive. It's massive for us, and it's massive for the bigger connotations of our rival. We've got to go and get a result. And I want to see more than that. I just see Mourinho coming out with bloody excuses every time. And it reflects itself quite clearly into the performances we see on the pitch. Some people would say, the attitude of a manager in a press conference doesn't feed itself through to the pitch. Well, what's his attitude been like since the summer? Pretty negative. And what's our performances on the pitch been? Pretty negative. So I disagree with that. I want to see some confidence. Another interesting thing he said is that we will play 11 players on Sunday that match my desire and effort levels, which for me, I thought, is that a hint that Paul Pogba's not going to play? Because is he just going to pick his favourites, the trusted players, the players who aren't our best players, but are the players that are in the club that he knows will give 100%, which worries me a little bit because that could mean Fellaini, that could mean Lukaku, that will mean Matic. And I just don't think those players have the quality for us to get any sort of result at Liverpool. But it could be another Juventus away win. Mouldy Balls 90, good name. I hope it is. I hope we can pull off some performance because whatever I think about United and Mourinho at the moment, Manchester United, Liverpool matters. And I'm really looking forward to the game and I want to see us pull off a shock. I want to see us get a result. A draw's not good enough, but at least it's not Liverpool winning. I totally accept we're going to have to go there and park the bus. That is not what I want United to do, but it's our only option. We are one of the worst teams in the Premier League at the moment. And I say that with total confidence. I know we're 6th in the league, but we're 6th in the league because we've got a better squad than most teams. But I've seen Wolves come to Old Trafford. I've seen Palace come to Old Trafford. Derby come to Old Trafford. Valencia, young boys, and play better football than we are. We're a terrible, terrible football team. So we can't go to top of the league who play good football at their ground and suddenly start pinging it around. We have to play a way that tries to subdue them and nick a goal because that's all we can do. All we can go do on Sunday is put a load of effort in. We're Stoke 2009 again. All we can do is go and try and fight harder than Liverpool and hope that stops them scoring goals and gives us an opportunity to win games. But it's not acceptable, is it? It is what it is. What else did he talk about? He said that the reputation is getting results. I will try to pick a team that is with me on desire and effort and passion. Doubts on everything because of the injuries, but we fight. And I mean, what I would say about the injury crisis, I did tweet this last night, so I can't hide away from it. I said, all these injuries that United have suddenly got, is it coincidental that we're playing Liverpool on Sunday and it's probably going to be the biggest sort of embarrassment and exposure we've had this season because we've got nowhere to hide. I mean, we're already too many points behind. Another loss and, the world's going to see it. So I just wonder how many of these players that are injured actually do get back for Sunday. And then if they're not back for Sunday, how many of them then come back for the Cardiff game? Because, it's not always about Mourinho, isn't it? And I think some players maybe are like, do I fancy that? Do I fancy, another humiliation? I don't know. Maybe I'm being a little bit unfair. Luke Skywalker says, Jose waved the white flag before the season started. How are the players supposed to motivate to perform when a manager has given up already? I mean, I do want to take some of your comments actually on the press conference. Some of you may have seen it, but some of you may not. But for me, and I don't know whether the press will pick up on it, probably not. But I think that the thing that for me really stood out from that press conference, again, there's always a line, was that he was asked about, Liverpool are clearly a vision of what Klopp's football is. Are United a vision of Mourinho? No. How far away from that are you? Very far. And I just think I can't understand what is going wrong with the ambitions of Manchester United anymore. We as fans have not adjusted our ambitions. We know the size of the club, the revenue of the club, the history of the club, that we should be, at the top of the table challenging for titles. That's what we should be doing. Yeah, we haven't done it for 6 years and we keep asking why, and we know why. Bad appointments as managers, reluctance to manage the club like a football club, and insistence that we manage it like a business. But how can a manager who's been there 2.5 years sit there in public and say, we're very far away from where we need to be? We're very far away from a Mourinho team. You've been here 2.5 years, mate. Why are you very far away? How is it acceptable for him to say that? And I'll repeat it. Sarri, Emery have been there, 4 months. Let's be generous, let's say 4 months. And their teams are playing to their vision. 2.5 years, and Mourinho hasn't got his team playing to his vision. And I just think that is just disgusting. It's unacceptable that he can say that, because he's had money. He's retained certain players. He picks Phil Jones, he picks Matic, he picks Lukaku. Who's to blame for it? I do not understand anymore the ambitions of this club and why they think it's acceptable for a man to publicly humiliate us every single week with ridiculous comments that make no sense. No sense. I mean, maybe the team isn't the team that Mourinho wants it to be, but why? Because you failed. Again, you failed, like you failed in your last 3 months at Chelsea, because you're a manager not of these times. Your management style doesn't work anymore. And that, for me, is the reason. And people talk about, like, Fred and Pereira let themselves down on Wednesday night. And to a certain extent, yes, I think they did. But I spoke about this last night. Their match fitness is not there because they're not playing matches. And match fitness is different to training ground fitness. They're obviously fit. They're professional athletes. But they're not match fit because they're not playing matches. And Mourinho has managed that badly. But yes, Pogba and Fred and Pereira played badly on Wednesday night. But if they had futures at the club under this manager, he'd be like, yeah, they're rusty. I need to get them more game time. But then you've got people like Matic and Lukaku who've been bad for 8 months. They're not thrown on the scrap heap after one game like Fred and Pereira will be. They're continually picked week in, week out and continually allowed to play bad football. But Fred has bad 10 minutes, you're off. Pereira, bad half, you're off. Never playing again. See you next year for the Carabao Cup. I might give you half an hour. But Lukaku and Matic, they're his boys. They play every week. That level of inconsistency is why, after 2.5 years, your vision is far away from where it needs to be, Mourinho, because you don't know how to manage a squad of football players anymore. You divide. And you've divided the fan base as well, so you should be congratulated on that. But most of all, you should be congratulated on how you are still in a job at Manchester United and how you are able to publicly make us an embarrassment every time you go on there. And yeah, I suppose I would say I think he's doing it to probably force the sack. I mean, maybe there's some rumours in the fact, maybe there's truth in the rumours that Real Madrid want him. And maybe he's like, well, actually, I want Real Madrid. I want to go and live in the sun. I'm fed up of living in a hotel. I want 20 million off United. And I tell you what, the minute he leaves our club, he is going to slate us to high heaven. He will slate this club. He will slate the fans. He will slate the players. So those who are loyal to him, fair play, because you're going to get stabbed in the back the minute he's gone. He's done it everywhere he's been. And you can just tell he will absolutely slate this club when he goes. And those who've been loyal to him are going to look very silly, I think. But that's their decision. It's not mine. I don't get why they don't sack him. Literally do not understand Max Crow. Money. They want to save money. No point parking the bus, Mark. We can't even defend properly, mate. We might as well go for it. And if we get beat, at least we went for it. James Barker. I mean, I like the comment, James. But what happened against Man City when it went to 2-1? Did we go for it? No, we parked the bus to stop a humiliating result. This is what will happen. Mourinho will look at it and think, I'll rather lose 1-0 than try and get... If we go 1-0 down, it'll keep the bus parked. I remember watching that Man City game when we were 2-1 down just before they scored the third goal. And if you were turning it on and you didn't know the score, you'd think United were holding on for a 1-0 win and City were trying to win it. We were 2-1 down. We were parking the bus at 2-1 down against Man City because he didn't want to get beat 4-5 or 6-1. Which, as I've said to you before, Mourinho never gets smashed. He never gets smashed. I can't think of the last time he got smashed. I think it was like Real Madrid and Barcelona. He very rarely gets smashed. He's never been smashed as a Manchester United manager. We're not a team that gets beat 4 or 5-0 because he will close the shop when you're losing 1 or 2-0, and instead of going for it against a better team, instead of going for it, he will shut the shop. So I think Sundays are going to be about trying to grind out a win, trying to grind out a draw. But if Liverpool score early, I think we'll see a very, very defensive display because he won't want to get smashed. It's funny how news that most of us players that Man United signed in the last 3 years were not players Mourinho wanted, the likes of Pogba, Lukaku and Sanchez, but you still just downplay it because it doesn't fit your agenda. That's from Ike Agwu. I think, Ike, I think that agenda that you've put out there is a myth. I think you need to go and read Lord of the Rings and have a look about Gandalf and his magic. It's not real, mate. This is not real. I mean, until somebody shows me some evidence, this is a fair point. This is one of the things that Mourinho inners say. Well, Mourinho's not been allowed to buy the players that he wanted to buy. Do you understand the structure at Manchester United? Mourinho is the highest person in the club who understands football. Woodward, Glazers, they don't understand football. Mourinho is the one who understands football. He is the one. He's the one who says to Woodward, I need these players. Woodward then tries to buy them. Woodward may refuse to buy certain players because he thinks they're too old or whatever. He will refuse to sell certain players like Martial or Pogba because they're too valuable to the club. But Woodward does not sit there playing Football Manager going, oh, Fred from Shakhtar Donetsk, he looks good. Oh, Eric Bailly, he looks like a decent signing. Oh, Dalot from Portugal, this kid, he looks good. Oh, Paul Pogba, let's go and get him. That's not how it works. This is a myth that people are using to try and say that Jose Mourinho gets handed players. We haven't got a director of football. If we've got a director of football, which is what many of us want, then yeah, fair enough, you'd say the coach isn't in charge of buying the players. We don't have a director of football. Ed Woodward, fine at sorting out, new hair product brands. He's not out there buying players. He doesn't know about football. He can't do that. That is not what's happened. Mourinho wanted Lukaku. He wanted Matic. He wanted Pogba. He wanted Sanchez. He got these players in and they failed. Absolutely failed. And that's the bottom line. There is nobody in that club buying players for Mourinho because there's nobody with the capability of doing it. Sir Bobby Charlton, Sir Alex Ferguson, yeah, but they're just symbols. They're not actually actively involved. And that's quoted, that's out there. So, no. What are your thoughts on the United stock price declining significantly this month? Do you think this could be related to the results? Whereas Cameron, I think it's reflected in the general market at the moment that football prices and everything have dropped off a little bit. So, but, I think that will happen. Russell Neone says, Mark, you're wrong. Jose is more of a coach than a manager. I'm not wrong. I don't want to argue with you because you've got your right to your opinion. And please do call in on the Discord show. But I know the Manchester United structure of the club, and so should you. He is the one asking for the players. He's the one saying, go and get that players. For the millionth time, we don't have anybody in the club above Mourinho who has the knowledge to go and buy players. I've said this so many times. If you ask Woodward what Shakhtar Donetsk is before we signed Fred, he'd think it was a hair product or an X Factor act. He doesn't know about football. He can't look at the United team and go, we need that. Now, to be fair, we did need a signing like Fred. We did need that because that's the modern world. Matic, Fellaini, they're Jurassic Park midfielders. They're slow, they're tall. You look at the modern midfielders that everyone has, you need somebody who's got flair, got tenacity, moves the ball around quickly. So Fred was a really good signing for United when you look at what we needed. But Ed Woodward wouldn't know that. He wouldn't look at the United side and go, oh yeah, we need a dynamic, fast midfielder who's tenacious and box to box. No, it's Mourinho. Mourinho picks the players. And you're just making yourself look stupid by trying to say it's not. No one should ever say to be fair in connection with football, says Zotti Moon. Okay, to be fair, you're right. If Mourinho was a coach, all his signings would be good, says AS7 Alexi. Jose said he gave a list of players to Woodward in the beginning of the summer. Comments of the day, Sean Williams. You probably put it across far better than I could. That sits down everybody. Please do drop a like on the video, by the way, because I love the press conference reactions because there's always a lot of passion in the live comments. Yes, you're absolutely right, Sean Williams. Let's go back to the last 2 summers around April time. Jose Mourinho, from his own mouth, in press conferences, I've given a list of players I want to Ed Woodward. It's his job to go and get it now. Hallelujah! Hallelujah! Hallelujah. It's there. I'm so grateful to Sean Williams for that, because that's just shut up everybody who thinks that Mourinho signings aren't the players that he wants. Because he's purposely, factually said for the last 2 summers, I've given my list of players to Ed Woodward. He didn't get everyone on the list. I agree with that. He didn't get Perisic. I think that was abysmal. He didn't get a centre-back, which we think was Boateng. I'm happy about. But he certainly gave a list of players to Ed Woodward, and that's what happened. Good night, Vienna. That's the story. Anyway. Superb. Absolutely superb. We are live again tonight at 8 o'clock. Might take some of your calls tonight because it's the Friday night live show. It's a bit relaxed. It's in the relaxed studio. So looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to the Liverpool game. Look, no one's going to take away my enjoyment of that game, my excitement for that game. No excuses. No. But as I say, I'll leave you, and I want people to put their comments in below. What are your thoughts when Jose Mourinho says after 2.5 years we're far away from where we need to be? Is that acceptable? Is there any justification for that? Get your comments in below. Thanks everyone for watching. I'll be playing FIFA at lunchtime on That's Football, and we'll be back again here 8 o'clock tonight live. You're all fantastic. Sean Williams gets a massive shout out. But as Solvab says, he's the king of excuses. Me or Mourinho? I don't know. But thanks everyone. Keep smiling. Keep happy. Drop a like, and I'll speak to you all soon.